Hello, welcome to the Satellite Marketcast podcast, where we feature key executives from leading satellite companies worldwide, talk about their company, their careers, industry trends, and other insights on the exciting satellite communication industry. I'm your host, Virgil Labrador, Editor-in-Chief of Satellite Markets and Research, inviting you to another informative podcast with our featured guest today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this global pandemic edition of the Satellite Marketcast podcast. And our guest today is Bob Hansen. He's the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing of Terrasat Communications. It's a ground equipment manufacturer based here in California, in Northern California, and he'll talk about that and other things. You know, I've known Bob for many years now. We've seen each other at all the trade shows. So, Bob, welcome to this podcast.
Hello, Virgil. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time today, and it's always a pleasure speaking with you about just being, friends in the industry a long time and working together. It's always a pleasure talking with you, and anytime I can maybe give some insight on our company, our products and the market, I'm always willing to help everybody out.
Right. And likewise, Bob, it's always a pleasure to see you. I've been seeing you in the shows for many years now, over a couple of decades. You were a very senior executive at Comtech EF Data since the 90s. And then you joined Terrasat in 2016. Talk about that a little bit, Bob. How do you see the transition in the industry, and also in reflecting in your career, from working from a larger company to a more niche manufacturer?
Sure. Yeah. It's a good question, Virgil. It's been a lot of fun as, growing up in the industry with a lot of people that have now moved on to other companies, very successful ones. It's been a nice learning experience, learning the corporate world of, Comtech telecommunications and working with people around the world. It's been a lot of fun enjoying growing a company the size that we have. We were very successful. We had a lot of leading innovation technology at Comtech EF Data, and it was fun selling the complete package of hardware, software, RF, digital modems, network management systems. And we really got to work with customers all over the world on building networks and, working with a lot of different vertical markets as oil and gas, education, enterprise, government, maritime. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time together with a lot of our customers around the world. But as you grow older in life, and I know since we've been working together for decades, we're working together. Yeah. I wanted to kind of just do a little something different in my career and move out of the corporate world. And I've known Terrasat for a very long time. Terrasat's been around for 20 years. And they've built nothing but satellite block-up converters known as bucks.
Right.
And very, very.
That in itself, if I may interrupt you a little bit, that's quite a transition for you. Comtech was a very vertically integrated company. It acquired a lot of companies, integrated it, and as you described it, and now you're with a niche manufacturer with a very specific focus, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's been it's been interesting because talking to customers, again about, every facet of a satellite earth station, their networking, it was always very interesting as far as presentations and building networks together. So yes, coming just to an RF product as a block-up converter was I'm not going to say a step backwards, but it was different to focus on one product. And it's
right.
different how you present to the customers, how you present to the industry, because at the end of the day, it makes power. That's all it does.
Right. Right.
So it's more about the company and the people and building the company is what I was interested in. Mm-hmm. And Terrasat has always had a very, very solid reputation, but they were more of an engineering style company. Right. They didn't have really a sales force. They had a couple of guys who were very good, but you can only do so much with a couple of guys. So I talked to the owners of the company and I asked them, what they wanted, how they wanted to grow the company. And they had very good answers. They didn't want to grow it too fast because as a manufacturer, quality is your number one facet. Besides the features that which everybody boasts, we have great features and the competition does. It's how you build the product and how you service the customers. So
Right.
you have to build it at a certain level and not too fast, because I can go out and sell a million contracts, but if you can't deliver them and you can't service the customers, it does no good.
Right.
So as we built the network of salespeople around the world and the distribution networks and the customer service centers, that helps us put the product together to the market and to the customers to give them the continued great product that we build. So it was fun just building a company based on one product. And it's kind of nice going to customers by saying, listen, we don't dabble in network management systems. We don't dabble in modems. We build bucks.
Right.
Our whole company's focus is building on bucks. So, Mr. Customer, it may not be the whole exciting product line that I've always been able to you, but when you need power and you need reliable, consistent, day after day power, Terrasat's the product of choice.
Right.
And that's what's been the fun part of working on a smaller scale company. But again, it's growing it, and it's growing that with our team and our sales guys and our representatives and to our customers. And that's been the most fun part.
Right. And it's it's paid off for Terrasat just to focus on one product line, right? Actually, I visited your new facility, and relatively new. It was built around the time you joined, right? Around 2016, when they completed that brand new facility, which you completely own, and it's all integrated in that one place, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And again, as you grow companies, you have to, scale the size of the company. And if you do your own manufacturing, it's a quite an investment, both on the capital and as far as real estate. And as you know, in California, it's not cheap.
Right. Oh, in Silicon Valley too, right? Morgan Hills.
Yeah. So we're about 20 miles south of San Jose off the 101.
Right.
And it's been very challenging because you have to hire engineers, test technicians, and finding the right facility. So we had outgrown the facility where we were in Morgan Hill and moved to a new building. It's all online on our website. There's beautiful pictures of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have a lot of room for expansion, which is a key. When we talk to customers about growing our business, they say, how are you going to scale up? Mm-hmm. And we show them the pictures and we show them our processes and how much more space we have to do this. And they're much more comfortable giving us larger size contracts.
Right.
So that was very important to know too, is that as we grow, we maintain the processes that we have in place. Mm-hmm. So we continue to deliver the good product. So most of our employees have been with the company and stayed with them, 15 years. And it's very important to keep that knowledge base in your company, because at the end of the day, that's how you build a good product is by, repetitive, perfect processes and testing and, taking pride in the company that enables you to keep delivering a good product.
Right. Now, Bob, as you know, and we are in the midst of a global pandemic. We've been into this a few months already. So how has that affected your company? I guess on two levels. One is the production and distribution process. And you, as the head of sales and marketing, the last show we went to where I saw you at was at the Satellite. And that wasn't even a full show. That was only 2/3 of a show because they canceled the last day. And it's August now. I'm really getting a bit cabin fever here. So, talk about that.
Sure. Right. Every company, as you know, has gone through their challenges, and each one is affected in a different facet of a business. Ours being in California is a little more stringent, I would say, in some parts of the world. Maybe I'm not going to say which ones are better, which ones are worse. It's every place is different on how they handle this issue. And being in California, we were immediately shut down as a business.
Right.
And we had to, obviously, everybody says they're an essential business, and that's how they keep their companies open. But we wanted to prove, to the state of California, the health board, that we were considered an essential business, which we are. We're delivering communications for first responders, military, government, the National Guard network that we did with our partners, Nick 4 and Satellite. And so it was very critical that we continue to build product. But at the same time, it's very important that you maintain the health of your employees, and you do not want to put them in harm's way of this horrible virus. So it was a gentle balance of, yes, we understand, Mr. Customer, you need your product, but we need to maintain guidelines to make sure that we keep our employees safe. So it was interesting because, as you know, maybe in a lot of factories, you tend to be a little closer together, and you're handling more stuff together on boards and putting product in temperature chambers to test them. So we had to bring in some experts that would enable us to make sure we were following good guidelines, as far as in handling the product and making sure we were far enough from each other.
Right.
We weren't, spreading. So it took a while. It took a while to understand how to do this, and our lead times, as most manufacturers experienced, went up.
Right.
And it was unfortunate to our customer base, but all of our customers stood behind us and said, "We understand. Please do what you can, but please maintain the safety standards that you're telling us about." And Godspeed, and hope everything works out. And it took a while to get the processes in place, but we haven't had a single issue, which means we are following good standards, and our employees are, in work and outside of work.
Right. How about the distribution, or fulfilling orders and all that?
Exactly. So we were very, very fortunate on the order front. We landed some very large contracts pre-COVID. And these were contracts that had scheduled deliveries all the way into 2021. And so we were extremely busy going into COVID. And what we found is the supply chains had the largest impact. So we had a number of our vendors, and as you know, in a block up converter, there's many, many, many different types of components, and we get them from all over the world. And as each part of the world went through the COVID crisis, they were shut down at different parts. So we would get parts in for one side of our amplifier and not have parts for another one. And so we had a very good inventory already, and in our factory and with our partners, our supply chain partners, but that lasted for a while. And then we had some issues getting parts, and we still do. It's still a challenge in certain parts of the world. Not a lot of vendors, but there are some vendors that unfortunately that didn't make it financially. And so we've had to make sure we've had second, third alternatives to find parts. So a lot of manufacturers are experiencing this, and it's unfortunate, but it's something we're working through. And our deliveries right now are way down from where they were at the start of the crisis. So we've secured a lot of our supply chain issues, and that moving forward is fine. And I think you'll talk to most manufacturers at this point that, or anybody in the satellite market, that there's been some challenges. There's been a number of bankruptcies, reorganizations, and okay, that's something we all need to work through again. And it's affected, some contracts as you would expect. And, there's certain verticals, oil and gas and maritime have obviously taken a different turn, let's just say. And, but there's still business, there's still a lot of networks going on. And like I said, we secured a number of large contracts that they're still moving forward. So we've been fine on the business front. As you said, I've been kind of confined to my working area, and I haven't been on a plane since March. So as I'm getting kind of withdrawal and
right. I've never been more than 50 miles from where I live and work. in the last 6 months since March.
Yeah.
And that's a major, major change, although a lot of my, of course, the publication is digital and online. But
Right.
we do need to meet people, and I'm sure it's even more crucial in your line of work where you're trying to get multi-million dollar contracts from
Right.
people.
No, it is because there's
How have you coped with that?
sure. Well, initially, like a lot of other companies, we moved to video conferencing with our customers, and that's great for a lot of. You can still do presentations, and sometimes it's tougher to capture an audience just on a video conference, and as you are and you're in front of them
Mm-hmm.
presenting. But we've learned to adapt in a number of areas. What we're fortunate about with Terrasat is that we're very well known in the industry, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to explain our company as some new startups might have to do. That's the initial challenge is, okay, who are you? What do you do in the industry? Why would I look at you? So we don't have to worry about that side of it, but you're right. As you're designing new networks, especially with the larger constellations that are out there,
Mm-hmm.
it's designing a different type of buck to meet their needs. And that has always posed a little more challenging, but we're working through those issues. But yes, as being in sales, it's my job is to be with the customers, to understand their needs, their wants, their issues. And it's been a little challenging because a lot of companies, as we are working from home and they're not in their offices.
Right.
So trying to get 10 people on a video conference and, okay, you have to mute your line because you're overpowering because you're slurping your coffee.
Right.
So it's definitely been harder,
Right.
but we are working through that. But I look forward to the times when we can get there again, Virgil, and kind of get.
Yeah. These virtual shows, and I've been to a few of them. And virtual parties and virtual. It's not the same. I don't think I need to explain that. Comptech had some great parties when you were there, and uh,
Yeah.
I miss the shows. So talk about how you're going to emerge and moving forward from all this. How do you see the company now?
Right. Well, again, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of business right now where we're not, we don't have to make changes to our company.
Mm-hmm.
We've always been a profitable company, and we continue to be. So we're not having to reinvent ourselves at this point. We're adjusting to the network, and we're always looking at different vertical markets on what is up and coming, what is taken not a back seat, but there's different frequency plans on the KA is very popular, and we're looking at different ways to where we can help customers out in their design. There's very little we can do to create business because we build a buck.
Right.
So as Comtech, we were very innovative by saying when we came out with different types of technology is I can save you half the bandwidth. That attracts a lot of people's attention, and that saves them money.
Mm-hmm.
With what we do on the amplifier side is to kind of make sure we're meeting their design specs where they're always going to have a reliable product.
Right.
I will say we're just in the midst of launching and delivering our new buck with our cybersecurity features. And it's a buzzword a lot of people don't understand because it's widely overused now, like optimization used to be years ago. It's like everybody has optimization. What does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing for cybersecurity is we are encrypting and cyber hardening the interface port to the buck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very important piece, like any other piece of the satellite network. If they have an RS-485 Ethernet port, that's very vulnerable to hacking.
Mm-hmm.
And any device that has a 485 is prone. So what we're doing is we're following the FIPS 140-2 standard for cyber hardening the interface port. So we've delivered our first contract for a foreign MOD that has these features in there that helps them cyber harden the complete terminal on site. So this is something that the U.S. government, and other governments have taken initiative,
Mhm.
and it's going to be, leading the charge in the future
Mhm.
is cyber hardening your product.
So you
And I
think the defense sector is gonna do very well post COVID, or in the transition?
I believe so. I mean, we're doing a lot of defense business right now,
Mhm.
because again, some markets are taking a little hit.
Right,
Let's
like
just
you
say.
said, the aero, the maritime, since
Right,
nothing's moving at this point, and then even from
right,
the studies that have been coming out, it will take at least a couple of years for these
right.
to just
We're,
to
we're
recover, not even get back to where it was.
I agree. We're very fortunate as the type of product we deliver. We service every market,
Hmm.
so we're not prone to being just in the aero market or
Right.
just maritime market. We sell to everybody in every vertical market.
Hmm.
So it's yeah. Again, some markets are doing better. Some markets are doing not as good. So that's how we're managing
Can
through
you
this.
mention some of the markets that will fare better than others in?
Um, well, yeah, there's a lot of the international organizations, let's say WHO, United Nations, they're still putting their networks in. They
Right.
they still have a lot of relief efforts going around the world, and they will always need to be serviced via satellite in a lot of um, the less let's say fiber or terrestrial type of networks.
Mhm.
So those are still very big. There's been some very nice contracts handed out for these types of networks earlier in the year, and we were very fortunate to land those deals.
Mhm.
There's still a lot of work with a lot of the foreign ministry of defenses. They still are still putting networks in.
Mhm.
They have deployments, and these are multi-year, 5-year plans that they just don't stop.
Mhm.
They continue to move on.
Mhm.
Now, when there's a more crisis and a secure issue, that's when you see these big networks coming on, and they're just not there right now, because there's not those issues going on in the world. It's more of relief efforts and how they're helping other nations out. But there's always embassy networks that are going on all the time, and so the defense and NGO type of business is still very strong right now, and there's still a lot of networks that need to go. As you know, the high tech industry is still thriving right now.
Mhm.
You can look at the stock market and you can see
Mhm.
that they're still investing a lot of money in high tech,
Mhm.
and a lot of that still has to be serviced via satellite.
Right.
So there's a lot of, the IoT is always going to be strong on getting connectivity.
Mhm.
And as you have your iPhone or your Droid, or on your laptop and your iPad, and you have 7 devices, you still need connectivity. And those types of networks are still very active right now.
Right. Right. So wrapping it up, Bob, you've had a long career, a very distinguished career. You've seen a lot of ups and downs in the industries. You've seen other uh, crises before. So how do you see us going forward from now?
I I see us. It's again a changing environment and how companies do business.
Hmm.
And I think it could be a good time for the satellite industry as people aren't in major cities anymore.
Hmm.
Well, I shouldn't say anymore. Excuse me. They're not traveling to their offices per se.
Hmm.
They're working from home, and this is going on all around the world.
Right.
So the connectivity issues are still going to be there.
Hmm.
And you can see the constellations, Amazon 10 billion, and
Right.
there's been some challenges obviously with some of the constellations, but there are still a lot of satellite constellations that are planned and will be funded.
Hmm.
And it's connectivity. It's all about connectivity. There's different verticals on 5G that will be coming up. It's they're servicing a lot of the major metropolitan areas, but that will be a market that will continue to grow. The maritime will come back at some point, meaning the cruise industry.
Hmm.
Oil and gas I think is coming back. And I'm as a salesman, I'm an eternal optimist.
Right, right. Well, that's very good to hear, Bob.
Well, others can say, Bob, you're full of crap, but no, I see a lot of good things happening.
Well,
And
I think your insights are based on your experience, and also from as satellite markets, we follow the researches and the studies, and I think what you just said is backed up by those studies, that.
well, that's it. We've both been in the industry for, let's just say decades and not say 30 plus.
Well, not quite 30 plus.
We've been through this time and time again, and everybody had said, oh, satellites are going away.
Right.
No need for satellites. And
right. How many times have we heard that? Eh? And we're still here.
Here we are 30 years later with launching more constellations, and it's still about connectivity.
Right.
We're not going away.
Right.
A lot of companies not a lot, but some companies may have to reinvent themselves and change their strategy and their focus and their R&D, but it's still a very good market to be in.
Well, I think on that note, that's a very, very bullish view of the future, and I actually share that view as well. So, is there anything else you want to add, Bob?
No, I may say some things that others don't agree with, but everybody's always welcome to give me a call or look me up online, and be happy to chat with them about it. And I wish everybody continued success. And we're all in this together. We have competitors, and we have friendly competitors, and we're all trying to help each other out. So I look forward to getting to the next show to see everybody and continuing the conversation.
Well, thanks, Bob. He's really one of the good guys in the industry, and I look forward to seeing you again in a show, face to face. Hopefully this year. There's still one or two more that are coming up, and if not, I think next year we'll definitely see each other again. I think you've given a very good overview of where the industry is heading, and I think we can take comfort in that. So thank you very much again, Bob, and for all our listeners out there, thank you for listening to this podcast, and for all the news and information on the global satellite industry. If you want more detailed information on Terrasat and other companies and the trends and opportunities in the industry, you have www.satellitemarkets.com and our YouTube channel, where this podcast will also be featured at Satellite Markets channel in YouTube. So thank you again.